The AI verdict is in for Canadians, from teachers to truckers. Here's what 2,500 Canadians said about AI in April. If you guys don't recognize me yet, my name is Alex. I run an AI agency here in Toronto called Peak Demand Incorporated. You guys can visit us, see what we do. We help small businesses, medium enterprise, municipalities, transit systems with their AI adoption. And I always like to get the temperature of what Canadians are saying, feeling, thinking about AI, because as a developed nation, G7 nation, we are an anomaly. We are the slowest adopter for AI technology amongst developed worlds. And for me to think that um, our country wouldn't be adopting AI or wouldn't be going down the path of technological evolution is it's out of a Twilight Zone story. So we're going to get into this article. It's a short one. I wouldn't say it's an article, more of an opinion piece by a couple of writers for the Toronto Star. Artificial intelligence has become a cultural reference point, writes Alexander Wilson and Scott Scheiman. These guys are graduate students from the Department of Sociology at University of Toronto, and Scott Scheiman is a professor of Department of Sociology. So we got sociology academics, making their opinion on artificial intelligence. And I got to say, like, I love when conversation is happening about AI in Canada. But I can tell you, I got time today to talk about what these gentlemen are positioning or framing AI for, because really it's leaning into what we've been saying this whole time. Canada's out to lunch on the conversation on AI. We are so far behind that it almost looks like a joke now to see and read some of this stuff. Let's get into it. Ask a Canadian workers about AI, and you'll hear about it everywhere in offices, on factory floors, over coffee breaks. But listen closely, and what you'll hear is not fear; it's a shrug. And this is true. And this is a big problem. If you're not fearing AI, that's a problem. Every single person who works should have either a fear of AI or a transmutation of that fear into courage, power, efficiency, and productivity. You're either looking at your world saying AI is coming, or you're saying, great, AI is here. But indifference, a shrug, that's a problem. That means people are about to get blindsided. A recent survey about 2,500 workers, our work and health team at University of Toronto conducted with support of the Angus Reid Group back up this paradox. We asked respondents their level of agreement or disagreement to the statement. I find it difficult to imagine what my work situation will be like a year from now. And then we asked open-ended follow-up questions to probe the reasons behind the responses. So U of T doing a survey on what Canadians think their work life will look like. In April, a third of Canadian workers reported that it was difficult to imagine their work situation a year from now, which is understandable with what's going on with the economy, as well as the level of job uncertainty. A lot of hiring freeze is happening. We really got to pay attention to this stuff because it's all tying into the same thing. By September, that uncertainty fell 3%, even though the frequency of references to AI in our follow up questions nearly doubled. AI, literally, they're asking open ended questions, and people and Canadians are more increasingly referencing AI and saying AI won't affect me. So we go from indifference to more and more people saying AI is not a problem. AI is not going to affect me. That reminds me of like people who they might get sick or they might be unhealthy. It's like, I'm not unhealthy, I'm not sick, I'm not unhealthy, I'm not sick. And then 2 3 weeks down, they're like in the hospital because they weren't paying attention to what was going on with their body. Sort of the same thing that's happening with Canadians and AI. We're literally putting our head in the sand and trying to ignore it the best we can. But I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Tremors. I think it was with Kevin Bacon. That's what's laying under the sand for us when it comes to AI. So Um, it's really fascinating watching our country go through this. It's like we're walking across a highway, a busy highway, with a blindfold on when it comes to AI and our economy. So, for me, I just grab the popcorn. Uh, Even with the frequency of references in AI to our follow-up questions nearly doubling, so more people are talking about AI, even though they're not being provoked to do so, and it's supposedly irrelevant. Okay, AI has become a cultural reference point, but for most workers, the threat it poses is overblown. Which, if you are familiar with AI and you get into it, you feel yourself empowered. Like you feel yourself empowered in your role, creating more jobs, doing more work. If you're not familiar with AI, you're that person walking across a busy highway. To understand this indifference, we ask another question. How likely is it that in the next few years, machines or computers will be doing a lot of the things you do now in your job? So not mentioning AI explicitly, but asking about, computation automation. Would you say it is not likely at all, a little likely, or somewhat likely, or very likely? And we once again asked open-ended follow-up questions to dig deeper into the perceptions. We discovered that workers don't ignore AI, they delegitimize it, framing it as irrelevant, limited, or even laughably inadequate. Guys, we are missing the mark here in this country if we can just laugh off one of the most powerful advancements in technology in human history. And I got to say, as a Canadian, I really feel for my kinfolk in this country, my country men and women. Our economy is collapsing. Jobs are disappearing by the thousands. American firms are either cutting jobs, no longer hiring, or completely overhauling their companies. Now, you don't have to listen to me. You can just ignore everything that I'm talking about, have been talking about, will be talking about. You can try and ignore me as much as you want, but the reality is very apparent that AI is an inevitability. It's not something we can just ignore. It's like when the internet came about. There were a lot of people, just like these people, saying internet's a fad. It's irrelevant to me. Now, in modern day, the internet carves the path of every operation that you could possibly even conceive. So, this is my I don't want to say it's my warning to Canadians because I do not like to spread fear at all. But as an AI agency owner and us, our team being on the ground floor in the trenches of workflow operations and businesses that are trying to get ahead or keep up, AI is here. It's not coming, it's here. And we have to pay attention to how it affects our world. The most common defense is AI's lack of human touch. And I can personally attest to that with most of the demos we get with Canadians. I would say 75% to 80% of the demos we do for AI automations for Canadians, we always ask, how far are you along in your AI journey? It's like, oh, we're not very far. Like we're really adamant about having the human touch. Our customers really like to be able to talk to a human. But really, were we saying things like that 5 years ago? Were we saying that our customers like the human touch 5 years ago? No, we weren't saying those things because AI wasn't available. We were just saying, oh, well, we have good customer service. We have a good product. Those are the types of things Canadians were saying. But now that AI is out, it's all of a sudden, well, we have a human touch. Well, you didn't have a human touch before. So immediately right off the bat, I say to them, well, that's what all of the Canadians are telling our team when we get into a meeting. And I can tell you with 100% confidence, Americans do not care about human touch. They care about financial touch. They care about productivity. And that is what's creating jobs and creating growth in their country. Now, if we cling and hold on to this human touch for as long as we can, I can pretty much guarantee productivity is not going to change. If anything, it's going to careen off a cliff because we're another thing we're noticing is that business owners are having a hard time hiring people that meet the level of competence needed to do the entry level role. So you're trading in a lot of cases, efficiency, accuracy, and general operational integrity for human touch. And so I really want us to sort of migrate away from thinking that the human touch is required to do business. We're thinking like it's the 90s here, guys. We need to do better. We need to be more forward thinking. What does the future look like? Young people love AI. They're gambling into AI. Are you using AI? Are you preparing for young people as your customer base, your clients? Hard questions. As a veteran elementary school teacher told us, it's very unlikely that a computer or machine will help a dysregulated child through the challenges of transitioning from one subject to another while learning to tie their shoes, write, read, sing, play, count, speak. So, of course, there are always going to be roles that require what we call, there's a technical term for that in the AI world. It's called human in the loop workflow. So we build out workflows that are completely computerized, AI powered. Machines are doing all the work. Great. There is a, a workflow or an operation that requires a human touch, we call it a human in the loop workflow. So there's a name for that. But we can't, but we're at a point now where the human, all of our workflows in Canada are human in the loop and they're not working. Our economy is careening off a cliff. So unless we change or unless we upgrade all of the humans working in Canada, what's happening right now or the way that our economy works is not sustainable. In the States, they're finding growth, sustainability through machines, through automation. And I very much suspect our government is looking at the same for our country. And a lot of Canadians are going to be experiencing a rude awakening when our federal government starts to say, hey guys, you need to use AI because our economy is no longer competitive on a global stage, or we're going to mandate you to use AI in some way to make sure that you are being efficient. I really do see, I mean, mandates really hard, promote and encourage through grants and opportunities for funding. That's something that I'm really seeing, and that's going to carve out the competition tranches where those who are going to pursue AI, they're going to get ahead. So please, guys, like don't ignore this stuff. Uh, a registered nurse declared nursing is a human profession that, in my opinion, can't be replaced with computers or people will die. I I was thinking this too. Like nurses are pretty much untouchable. We're seeing nurses get laid off in the States like crazy right now. I'm not 100% sure why. It's 100% sure why, but even nurses are having a hard time with holding positions in the States. A lot of it's having to do with burnout. Nurses are some of the hardest working people we got. You- And then we got to think, well, if a nurse is burning out in this way, like how can we make the nurse's job easier? Well, maybe we can have a machine do some things, and then all of a sudden AI is part of the conversation. So it's really, we're seeing the upper limit of what human beings can handle in an economy, you know, show its face. Like we're really not progressing very well with a just human driven economy. It's not going well, at least right now. Young people are some of the most unemployed in history in our developed world, and we're guiding uh, businesses and the Canadians down a path that is economically not sustainable. So we got to think differently here. We can't just ignore like monumental changes with society. It doesn't work. No country that has done that has seen more profitable or better days. It's always the opposite. For most works, the complex and emotional aspects of their work, for most workers, the complex and emotional aspects of their work are beyond code and circuitry. Even in technical fields, skepticism runs deep. And this is again pointing back to Canadians just being underdeveloped when it comes to tech, like across the board. We talk to technical teams, and they still don't know how some of their systems work. And those are the technical teams that are like the technical leads for their company. And we're looking at the systems they're using, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what this is. And so for me, I'm like, guys, we have to dig deeper. If you have a technical person on their team, they should know top to bottom your entire digital infrastructure and how things connect and what they do. Like we can't just hobble along on just, you know, oh, it's going to be better. Oh, we got human touches. Oh, it's all great. Like we can't do that anymore. It doesn't work. Young people aren't getting hired. Like our economy's stopping, changing, and being overhauled before our eyes. A scientist told us we're at the cutting edge, literally coming up with the knowledge that these AI computers are using. Currently asking cutting edge science questions to the machine often results are in fake or imagined data. So this, I can tell you right now, whoever this person was, they'll log on to ChatGPT, ask a single question, and if they don't see the correct answer or what they want right away, they assume that the AI doesn't work. But AI is not like that. You don't go to AI to get deterministic answers. You go to AI to chew through as much data as possible to come up with the best answers that you can through a lot of computation, not the most exact answers. I mean, if we're in a workplace and you got someone there who thinks that everything that they say and do is exactly right, then I power to them and I pray for you. Same thing with AI. It's like having a colleague that can do a shitload of work in a very short amount of time. They're not necessarily always right, but they're right a lot of the time, and they can do so much work that you don't even care if they're right some of the time just because of how much work they're doing. You'll figure out what's right that they've created. So really do get concerned when a scientist of all people, we have AI doing uh, insane work for like gene coding and stuff like that in the States, and we have a scientist here who's saying that it can't answer cutting edge science questions, and it's just the Canadian way. We're just so out to lunch on this stuff. We want to ignore it. There's going to be people watching this video going, "Oh, it's that AI guy again talking about replacing humans." And I'm not. And that's the thing. As an agency, we don't actively go out to try and replace people. We get businesses that have a problem that they can't solve with human beings, and they ask if we can help. Like literally, businesses are at a point now where it's like we can't even hire enough people, and if we did, that we would be out of business to do this work properly. Can you help us with technology, Alex? And I say, yes, we can. Let's build you a prototype. So businesses aren't looking at their problems like, oh, I can hire humans to fix this stuff. They're looking at their problems like, I can't hire people to fix this stuff because we tried and they failed. I need something better, smarter, and faster for this particular role. So it's really, a disconnection between how much Canadians have been exposed to the technology, what they currently do for work, and where the technology is. And that's why I feel a lot of people are going to be blindsided by this stuff because it's like a freight train. It might not be moving so fast now, but it's chugging along. And once it gets to its breakaway speed, it's not stop. The government's not going to come out and say we're banning AI. They'd be the laughing stock of our planet if they did that. We'd literally be made fun of like at the UN because every single country in the world is racing and spending trillions. Like the US is spending trillions of dollars. Have you guys even heard an environment where trillions could be even spent? And it sounds so unbelievable and so unreal that I think Canadians just ignore it. A product development specialist echoed the sentiment. I do not see AI being helpful with generating new ideas. It can make things it has seen before, but nothing new or different. And I right away, this one, I got to push back a little because when I sit down to my terminals, my AI, like multiple AI terminals, I got multiple tasks that I'm going through. I am asking it for ideas that might not necessarily be apparent to me, looking at all of these different factors of my operation. But as soon as I load it up with all of those different things, I say, put together some ideas for this, that, and this area that I can consider, and then we'll work from there. And it does so beautifully. It's obviously not exact how I want it right off the bat. I have to fine tune. I have to reinforce. I have to put up guardrails to get towards the answer that I want exactly. But once I'm there, the product that's created or the end result, it's marvelous. And we we gain results for it. Like we get more traffic, we get more leads, we get better presentations, we do more business. So I'm living the experience of all in on AI. Thank you, Evan Solomon, for that conference. And I can tell you right now, after going all in on AI, hell, even my investment strategies, I get like the ideas that are coming out of AI for me just in considering my finances, this my personal finances, well beyond my own scope of understanding of finances. I've learned more about finances from AI and ideas on how to do better than I have any teacher, school, family member ever. Like it's completely eclipsed everything I've known, and I'm doing well because of that. So I can't. I really want Canadians to sort of think like, hey, on the other side of this AI fence is a different lifestyle, which you can benefit from greatly. Others cast AI as a colleague rather than a competitor. ChatGPT will likely write things for most people in a few years. Wrong, it's doing that right now. Explain a communications director. I even feel for this director because their role is probably going to be overhauled by AI. So that part of my job will slow and I can pick up more strategic work. If you're a communications director, all you're going to be doing is managing AI agents and content generation terminals. That's your job now. I mean, are you going to spend time typing out a communication, or are you going to load up 100 previous communications, get a style or a context for the AI to work off of, and then just fine tune new creations in seconds? Come on, like it's obvious. I mean, not obvious. You got to know what you're doing with the AI terminals, but once you figure it out, it's like it's over. You're not going to go back. A data scientist processing pipelines for a tech firm explained the development of AI will probably streamline a lot of simple work in software development. 100%. Like 100%. This stuff is, I have AI putting together code for all sorts of little things all the time, every day. And I never in my life, well, I mean, that's a lie. I did Turing. I think it was C++ plus plus or something like that in high school. And that was maybe like 25 years ago. But now I have AI borderline developing applications, widgets, automations, all sorts of stuff that everyday people could do as well if they knew how to have that conversation. And a corporate controller running a construction finance team added AI is still in its infancy. I don't think it will replace me, but I think it will make some of the things that are routine more efficient. We're getting people who are acclimating. I wouldn't say replacement, but AI tools. If you're an accountant or a comptroller, controller, you're going to need to adopt the ability to use AI tools. That's the bottom line. Like AI tools are going to take over your world. Of course, not everyone shrugs. Some in routinized jobs express resignation. An administrative officer for a social housing lamented, AI will be able to do most of the tasks that I do. One person working with AI systems will be able to replace 9 admin officers. This person's woken up. This person's recognized exactly what I've been saying. Do not get blindsided. Do not be the person who says, do not be one of these 9 admin officers getting completely overrun. You want to be the admin officer who's learning how to build automations or specializing in someone else. Administration is first target for AI. A truck driver declared, driving trucks is still the most human job, but in the future, it will be done by AI. Even the guys not sitting at their computer, the truck drivers and people have a perception of truck drivers. Oh, they just drive a truck. What do they know? These guys see the world. They talk to literally everyone. They have to. They're literally traveling across the country every day. And they can see that the world is changing. They can see that cars are now driving themselves. If you're a truck driver and you see a car driving itself, the first thing that you're going to think is, well, I guess someone could drive this truck. Or maybe someone didn't have to drive this truck. A machine could do it. So I really do believe there are going to be some people in Canada who can immediately recognize that AI is here. That's why one of the playlists we have on the channel is called Artificial Intelligence is Here, because it's not going to be here and then gone. It's going to be here and then here more. So for this truck driver to recognize that, I really give that guy ratings. Like whoever that guy is, he's going to be more able to navigate the next few years than any of his peers. And a lot of these other smart guys who think that AI is not going to take their job, or at least take some of the things off their plate, where now paying them a certain level of salary might not be necessary. It's real, guys. And I am saying this as a signal to try and upskill, try and evolve. Like the guys on our team, the amount of upskilling and training that I've given them from when they started to where they are at now, it's brutal. It is these guys will literally tell you, like, it's not fun training with me. But now when I look at them and the conversations they're having, the things that they're doing with their workflows, automations, their builds, but also in their lives, I'm just like, I did that. I affected them. I love that. So for me, it's and it's funny because they were at a time trying to figure out what they wanted to do for work, trying to figure out, Canadian job market. I said, come work with me, come do this. It's a lot different, but it's what's coming down the pipe more so than anything else. And now they're flying. They're I mean, I wouldn't say they're laughing because the work we do is hard and I make it hard so that we produce good results, but they're able to pay their mortgages, feed their families. An HR consultant scoffed, "Machines can't reason. They can't kick buckets to check in. They can't kick boxes to check inventory. They can't draw relationships between what's happening globally and client impact. AI isn't a panacea, it's a hallucination. This kind of rhetorical vaccination, reducing AI from existential threat to malfunctioning gadget, is why most Canadian workers seem to feel immune from the hype." And this is where I really do feel like a lot of people are going to be blindsided, because she even used the word there, hallucination. Hallucinations are not malfunctioning effects of large language models. They are quite literally features. They are what allows AI to be creative, to fill in the blanks when it thinks it needs to be creative. But we actively try and minimize hallucinations with reinforcements, guardrails, spin cycles, all sorts of things to make sure that AI agents are operating with max precision, max accuracy, and they get better. They have gotten a lot better. Even in the past, I would say 3 years, they've gone warp in terms of their efficacy. But even in the past few months, we've seen a noticeable difference in how fast and effective and accurate they are. So for me to think that this HR consultant is like, it's an HR consultant too. Oh my gosh, that person is going to have a wake up call. And it's not going to be the nicest once they start to figure out that their consulting or their clients are now looking at AI tools to help with HR operations. Do better. History shows that technological disruption often has a lag. I need to bold and highlight this. There is a lag, guys, for any sort of technological effect on a society. You're going to have early adopters, they're going to make it work, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a huge monsoon of adoption that's going to throw everyone off. Do not be caught blindsided by that. Workers who feel immune today may find their defenses tested tomorrow. And while politicians and pundits frame AI as an urgent, destabilizing force, our surveys show an important lag in public opinion. Most Canadian workers do not see AI as a crisis. They are absorbing it into their worldview, stripping it of menace, and moving on. Guys, this is like, I don't, I can't describe how doing this is bad without making AI look bad. But AI is not bad. It's good. Very good. This is like back in the day, if you were the guy who sold oil or gas lanterns in your town, and then all of a sudden electricity gets invented, and you're like, electricity, It's too hard to set up. It's a fad. We'll always have oil and gas lanterns. You don't see many multi-billion-dollar conglomerates for lanterns powered by oil and gas. They might even be like decorations now. No one uses them. We all use electricity. So in the era of breathless hype, it's reassuring to know that most see, and this is not we shouldn't be using language like this. It's reassuring to know that most workers remain skeptical. So this person is not necessarily a proponent of AI. AI may be everywhere, but everywhere in conversation, but in the Canadian workplace imagination, it's just another buzzword. The result is not panic, but something both surprising and refreshing, a practice, even artificial indifference. Guys, if we remain indifferent to this stuff, a lot of people that have been complaining about, I can't find a job, I can't pay for my mortgage. Oh, AI is nothing. Oh, now I'm homeless. Oh, I can't get a job because now AI is doing all the jobs. Like this is the pathway that leads us down, or this pathway is going to lead us down to a position where a lot of Canadians are not going to manage the next transition to our next economy. And I believe this middle class environment that we've been enjoying, or at least my family, my parents in particular, both immigrants have enjoyed for the majority of their time in Canada. My childhood, living that middle class life, that's going to the wayside. We're going to see a very apparent separation of two groups: those who fall into the new economy, and then everyone else. So I really do hope Canadians, we all hold each other's hands through this, even if this person is ignoring things and you know that they shouldn't be. Enlighten them, force them to learn, because unless they do, if they don't learn, unless they do, so many people are going to be, they're going to miss the train. They're going to miss the train, and the train's not going to be coming back. So if you like, this was a bit of a gloomy one. It's funny, this picture was generated by AI, and the people who put together this article, like, they put this picture together. They didn't take this picture. This picture was generated by AI. So even the guys who are writing this article are quite literally using AI to put together their content. So I gotta say, if someone's telling you AI is not here to take your job, and it's irrelevant, and most Canadians don't think anything about it because it's malfunctioning, and then they right in your face are using AI for their workflow, use that thinking cap, use your noggin, pay attention. I'll see you guys in the next one.